You gotta love an episode that ends with a poop joke. Hello my friends and welcome to another review of One Punch Man Season 2. After watching this episode, I am fully convinced that One Punch Man is basically just a comedy series. Sure, it can have some really well executed action scenes, I think that was very evident from Season 1, and a lot of the characters have really cool and kick-ass designs, which make them seem like they belong in some of the best action anime of all time. But for the most part, this series is essentially just a parody of action anime in general, and you can definitely tell because this entire episode ended with a diarrhea joke, all about Sonic eating a monster cell. This entire episode was really goofy, and we finally got to see Saitama in action, which is to say we got to see him walking around slowly and beating the crap out of monsters in one hit. That's kind of his thing. I will say that while this episode was incredibly funny, it was also kind of disappointing in some senses. I really wanted to see Saitama have a cool battle with Bakuzan and Goketsu, and we don't really get to see that happen. I mean, Bakuzan gets taken out practically off screen, and we don't even get to see the battle with Goketsu. That might be one of the most disappointing aspects of this entire episode for me personally, especially because they were building up Goketsu to be this immensely strong being. He took out Genos in one shot, he took out almost all of the martial artists at the big super fight tournament, and I was at least hoping that we would get to see him try to fight against Saitama, but no, Saitama has a few words of wisdom for Suiryu, letting him know that he does have the potential to be a hero. I mean, anyone really can. He leaves, and then suddenly Goketsu's decapitated head explodes right in front of him. Basically, this entire battle happened off-screen, and Goketsu, while he was built up to be important, is essentially the Snoke of One Punch Man. And in that sense, it can be kind of disappointing. But again, that's kind of the entire joke about Saitama. He's just way too damned powerful. And as he's making his way through the city, he actually meets up with King, who actually decides to drop some pretty hardcore wisdom on him. And this wisdom, by the way, was basically ripped off from All Might, from the other manga and anime series My Hero Academia. It's basically just another ham-fisted lesson about what it truly means to be a hero in this world. But believe it or not, the way that he actually articulates that to Saitama might be one of the most enduring speeches that I've actually seen from the entire series. You see, Saitama has hit a wall. He can't get any more stronger, and the only way that he's able to get satisfaction from pretty much anything is having a big kick-ass monster fight. But everybody he runs into, he ends up flattening them like a damn pancake. And that's when, of course, King lets him know that it's not just about fighting monsters and getting satisfaction. That's not what it means to actually be a hero. To be a hero means to be courageous, to selflessly help people. In many ways, Saitama still has a lot more to learn, and he even realizes that a little bit in this episode. I also really love this scene because we get to see the return of Garo after his battle with Watchdog Man, which unfortunately we don't get to see a lot of, but the implication is that Watchdog Man frickin' just whipped his ass. Like, big hardcore time. And that makes sense. Watchdog Man basically looks a lot like Saitama, so I imagine he's basically just the dog version of that character. But Garo gets really excited when he sees King and tries to attack him, but he ends up getting plowed through a wall thanks to Saitama kicking him, and it looks like a scene straight out of Looney Tunes. You even see the entire outline of his body as he smacks through a brick wall. It's at this point in the episode that I realize, yeah, this show is basically just kind of a big joke at this point. That being said, the joke manages to hit every time. It always manages to be funny. I also like that we got to see the return of Puri-Puri Prisoner, a character whose entire shtick is that he's super naked. What I also really like about his character, and what might be, I think, the funniest scene of the entire episode, is after he takes down this giant hedgehog monster by basically crushing it with a big freaking hug, he actually pulls out a cell phone. Where did he get that cell phone from? Spoiler alert, it came from his ass. I'm not saying that's the funniest scene from the entire series. No, that's what I'm saying. It's the funniest scene from the entire series. Puri-Puri Prisoner pulling a cell phone out of his butt. But the cherry on top of the sundae of this episode has got to be one of the final scenes of the episode when Sonic is met by these two superpowered ninjas, which are apparently from rival ninja villages. And these two ninja have actually joined the Monster Association, and just like the other monsters, they're going around and trying to transform strong people into monsters. And they offer Sonic one of these monster cells, which he definitely considers, considering, of course, that he could finally maybe obtain the power to take down Saitama. What's really funny about it is that it looks like he is actually going to eat it, but unlike a lot of the other characters who decide to basically just eat it raw, he actually decides to cook it. And he's actually a pretty good-looking chef. He makes a beautiful plate of monster cells, and he sits down under candlelight to actually enjoy it. He eats it, and the episode just ends with letting us know that he got diarrhea from it. So what's the rundown on this episode of One Punch Man? This was a crazy, ridiculous, and funny episode. To be perfectly honest with you guys, it sort of changed my entire view of the entire franchise. I'm not even sure if I should consider it like a full-on just action show anymore. Yes, it does have action, and a lot of those scenes are incredibly awesome, but for the most part, this is just a straight-up comedy, and in that sense, it is actually doing a pretty good job. It does have a great sense of comedic timing, and I liked a lot of little small moments in this episode, like Suiryu, who before was a complete and total douchebag. Now he's a little bit less of a douchebag, and he even seems like he's going to try and become a hero, and even wants to become Saitama's disciple, to which Saitama says, nope. I love that there's no follow-up to that scene. It's like, is this really the end of Suiryu's story? If it is, well, that was a pretty damn good joke. I also like that we got to see the return of Armored Gorilla. He's that one character from the first season, I believe the second episode, actually. He's basically a giant cyborg gorilla who's just sort of aimlessly walking around the streets when he's suddenly attacked by Martial Gorilla, another gorilla villain of sorts. So this is the ultimate gorilla crossover if you were looking for it. The only thing missing is King Kong and Donkey Kong. What makes the scene most interesting is we get the return of another hero from the first season, Zombie Man, who really didn't get to do too much in the first season, and again, I wanted to see more of him here. His name is immediately intriguing. I guess maybe he's like a weird undead type of character, but he has a very simple but very cool design, and I can't wait to see what that's all going to be about. Otherwise, this entire episode is sort of wrapping up the entire monster invasion arc with a big cliffhanger ending of all of the people working at the Hero Association being attacked by one of their lower level guys who's been transformed into a monster, or his body's been taken over by one. Basically, this has all been just like a big warning from the Monster Association. This attack was basically a test, and I'm not sure where it's going to go from here, but it's really awesome, and like I said, it ended with a diarrhea joke. This was a really funny episode of the series, and if you were expecting some super high-octane, super animated action, you're not going to get it from this episode. But as far as the comedy goes in the story, it seems to be running off all cylinders, which is really awesome. So that's why I'm going to give this episode a 4 out of 5. Yes, a very great episode. Practically 4 cell phones out of Puri-Puri Prisoner's ass. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about the episode, and you can tell me all of them in the comment section below, and what you hope to see from the rest of One Punch Man Season 2. Did you guys have any favorite scenes or funny scenes from this episode? What do you hope to see from the future of the franchise? Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more anime reviews, topics, discussions, and reactions. Speaking of reactions, I just did a huge reaction to Nintendo's E3 Direct. It's a giant 40-minute presentation of all the brand new games that they have coming out, and trust me, you guys want to check out this reaction. I go into like full-on fangirl mode by the end of it. You'll know what I mean when you check it out. There will be a link for that video in the description box below. And to all of those who subscribe to my channel, thank you so much. Ever since I did my big channel rebranding a couple of weeks ago, a lot of things have picked up. Views have been going up, my subscriber rate has been going up, and one of the best ways to support this channel is, of course, to check out my Patreon and my PayPal account. There'll be links for all that stuff in the description box below. I'll see you guys all next time, and as always, stay down, baby.